You know what that is, ladies and gentlemen? That is a breath of fresh air. Holy wow. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, the gift from Jesus Christ himself. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is the third and presumably final Guardians of the Galaxy film. When it comes to the Guardians films, I really like the first one. I know when that actually came out, for the most part, we all thought it was going to flop because we didn't know these characters. They were not mainstream. But now they're very well known, they're very popular, and they're very beloved. When the second film came out, I kind of trashed it because it just didn't work for me. I didn't like it. I didn't like the plot. I felt like I had seen 1,000 movies like that before. And I could see Ego's motivations a mile away. Granted, we all probably could, but I just wasn't a big fan of it. However, upon rewatch, compared to Quantumania, Thor Love and Thunder, what else came out? I don't remember. She-Hulk. There's that one. Just whatever's come out in the last couple years after No Way Home, except for Wakanda Forever. I'll give that one a point. But anyways, Volume 2, I feel like actually holds up better in my opinion. With that one, there's still a clear direction of where the movie is supposed to go. And it just doesn't feel like it was directed by an entire committee. And there's some really good heartwarming moments in that one. Now, for Volume 3, this one is easily in my top 10 favorite Marvel films of all time. This gave me that feeling I felt back in like 2014 Marvel, where just every single Marvel movie, or at least every other Marvel movie, was a banger. And even ones that weren't that good, you could still appreciate it and be like, it wasn't that good, but it's building to something bigger. And that's what I really like the most about this one, is that it doesn't actually feel like it's building to anything. It's just a straightforward finale to the end of a trilogy. You can tell that this entire film is directed by James Gunn, not directed by a ton of guys wearing suits. It's his one voice, it's his one vision, and he's able to carry it throughout the film's entirety. Where this film works best is in its characters, and even in its story. This movie makes the brilliant choice to put the emotional hook and the objective in the same ballpark. And that hook happens pretty early on into the movie. It happens within 10 or 15 minutes in. So that entire 3-hour movie that you're about to sit through, you're on the edge of your seat, because it's one of those hooks where it's like, if we don't succeed, if we fail, it's going to end really badly, and there's going to be a huge emotional consequence if it happens. And because of these previous movies have built these characters up, even the Russo brothers Avengers movies as well, we care deeply for these characters, and anytime any of them is in peril, you're on the edge of your seat. And I think that's what even makes the action scenes more impactful, because there's a reason for these being here. It's not just action for the sake of being action. It's like, we need to get out of the situation so we can get to the thing and do the thing that we need to do, because we don't want to lose this one. So it doesn't necessarily up the stakes as in bigger is better, but it ups the stakes emotionally, and it makes you care deeper about what's going to happen or what could happen. And that, my friends, is brilliant writing. Since I'm on the topic of emotions, we got to talk about the real MVP of this movie, Rocket Raccoon. Listen, Rocket's always been my favorite of the Guardians team. I know for a lot of people it's Groot, it's Drax, but for me, I'm Team Rocket. And this movie, what they do with his character is just so incredible and so emotionally impactful that I can't even express how it made me feel throughout this film. I didn't like bawl my eyes out like the rest of the population, because although those scenes in his backstory are hard to watch, for me it was the emotionally powerful scenes that got me to tear up. Yeah, I teared up, are you kidding me? But there's so many emotionally powerful and emotionally satisfying scenes that just hits you right in the feelings, man. For instance, there's a great moment where it links together the previous films, and it shows you that there's this thing that's been in front of us the entire time, and we never even noticed it. And I love movies that do that, and I think they executed that perfectly. Anytime Baby Rocket is on screen, you just want to protect this thing with your entire life. I mean, like, I went out and bought this thing like the next day. Like, look at this. It's contagious. I know the minute when I got home from the movie, I just walked up and grabbed my cat and held it for like 5 minutes, because I was just like, if anybody hurts this cat, I will destroy them. Or at least have Keanu Reeves do it for me, but you get my point. Now, as for the villain, I don't think I have hated a villain so much, or at least an MCU villain, more than this guy. Literally every time he was on screen, I was just thinking to myself, I am going to look forward to watching you die, good sir. And I like the fact that he's not complex. Like, he's just pure evil. And I know that it's important to have your fleshed out villains, because you can understand where they're coming from. But really, I feel like it's fair to every once in a while just have a villain that's just evil for the sake of being evil. He doesn't need to have some tragic backstory. He doesn't need to have some crazy motive. He's just a terrible person and he needs to be stopped. Because I think the movie puts so much into the core members of the Guardians that there's almost not even that much time to give development to the High Revolutionary. But I think they do enough with him, with his motivation, to make you despise him in every way possible. I mean, PETA would be kicking this guy's door down for sure. I was talking to a buddy of mine, and I'm going to give him full credit on this theory because it's actually kind of genius. But he said, given what's happened with Jonathan Majors and his role as Kang, that they could easily just cast the villain in this movie and just say that the High Revolutionary was actually just a variant of Kang, and then we would just get that guy for Secret Wars and the Kang Dynasty. I mean, I'd be okay with that, but I mean, that's just me. He does get to the point where he starts screaming too much, though. Like, he would be perfect for the First Order. I don't know. It's just weird. I think the action in this movie is almost the best it's ever been in a Guardians film. I know it's been talked about in other reviews, but there's a phenomenal scene where all the Guardians are in this corridor and they're all fighting a bunch of these aliens, and just how it's filmed in, I think it's in one take actually, with the wide angle lens, and it's just so brilliantly choreographed, brilliantly filmed, and it's easily one of the standout scenes in the movie. And they do it to Beastie Boys, so that's always good. I don't have any real glaring issues with this movie. I think upon rewatch, there might be some pacing issues there. For me, I felt like the objective was crucial enough to keep me invested for that full runtime, but once you know where it's going and where it ends up at, I could see how the movie could slow down a little bit. This movie for me just blew my expectations out of the water. I don't really know what I was expecting. I know that it's been a while since we've seen a solo Guardians film. I think it's been like 6 years. So I was just expecting it to be just another disposable movie. But no, I'll remember this one for a long time. It really gave me that feeling I got when I walked out of Iron Man for the first time, or Winter Soldier, or Civil War, or even the first Avengers movie. It's literally on that level of greatness. And for me, it's because of that incredible writing. It knows how to be a great movie first and an MCU movie second. It focuses on its characters and on its story before it focuses on anything else. And really, this actually, I don't really think that this sets up anything. Of course, like the mid-credits scene does, but it's not a movie that exists to point towards a bigger movie. It's a finale to a trilogy, an emotionally satisfying finale to a trilogy, might I add. Even how this movie ended, I did not expect, but I loved it. Not only because they played a song from my high school years, so that just took me back a little bit, but just how everything wraps up, where the characters end up, I think was a great way to end this story. In my opinion, this movie did everything right. I'm looking forward to seeing it again, and I'm excited to add it to the collection. Well, guys, that is it for my review for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I think 2023 is off to a great start in movies. If you guys would be so kind to always please like and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. That would definitely help me out in the channel. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video. I'll see you again soon.